The story of Iran and Israel began not with conflict, but with friendship. Thousands of years ago in the Persian Empire, the Jewish people were captives in Babylon, longing for freedom. Then came Cyrus the Great, a wise and compassionate Persian king. In 539 BC, Cyrus conquered Babylon and did something remarkable. He freed the Jewish people. He allowed them to return to Jerusalem and even helped them rebuild their destroyed temple. This act of kindness is a cornerstone of Jewish history, remembered as a time when a Persian king became a savior. Many Jews chose to stay in Persia, where they lived in safety and respect. The Book of Esther, set in the Persian Empire, tells of Queen Esther saving her people, highlighting the deep ties between Persians and Jews. For centuries, Iran and Israel's story was one of friendship and mutual respect. This golden era is often forgotten, but it laid the foundation for a unique relationship in the Middle East. The ancient bond between these peoples reminds us that history is not just about conflict, but also about hope and cooperation. The legacy of Cyrus's kindness echoes through time, showing that even in the darkest moments, friendship can change destinies. As we move forward in this story, remember that the roots of Iran and Israel's relationship are grounded in acts of generosity and shared history. The world they built together was one of tolerance and support. But as centuries passed, the winds of change would test this ancient friendship. The story of Iran and Israel would soon take a very different turn. Yet the memory of that golden age still lingers, a reminder of what once was, and what could be again. Let's see how this relationship evolved in the modern era. The next chapter would be written in a world transformed by new powers and new challenges. But the echoes of Cyrus and Esther would never fully fade. The story continues, and it begins with hope. Centuries passed, but the connection between Iranians and Jews endured. Jewish communities thrived in Iran, becoming part of its culture and society. In 1948, Israel was born. Most of the Middle East rejected it, but Iran, under the Shah, took a different path. Iran became one of the first Muslim-majority countries to recognize Israel. This was a bold move, reviving the spirit of ancient friendship. Iran and Israel, both non-Arab powers, found common ground in a turbulent region. Their partnership was quiet, often secret, but strong. They traded oil for technology, shared intelligence, and even trained each other's military forces. For nearly 3 decades, from the 1950s to the late 1970s, Iran and Israel were secret allies. This alliance was practical, built on shared interests and mutual security. It was not about public declarations, but about survival in a hostile neighborhood. Israeli advisors helped modernize Iran's military, while Iran's oil fueled Israel's growth. Their cooperation was hidden, but it shaped the region's balance of power. This partnership was a modern echo of their ancient bond. But history would soon take another dramatic turn. The quiet partnership would not last. The next chapter would be written in revolution and upheaval. The world was about to change, and so was the relationship between Iran and Israel. The seeds of conflict were about to be sown. The story moves from secret friendship to open hostility. The golden age was ending. A storm was coming. In 1979, the Iranian Revolution changed everything. The Shah was overthrown, and Ayatollah Khomeini established an Islamic Republic. Khomeini saw Israel not as a partner, but as an enemy, calling it the Little Satan. Overnight, Iran cut all ties with Israel and handed its embassy to the PLO. The era of secret partnership was over. A new era of hostility had begun. Iran began supporting groups like Hezbollah, providing money, weapons, and training. This marked the start of a proxy war, fighting Israel indirectly through others. For Israel, this was a shocking reversal. A former friend had become its most determined foe. The strategic map of the Middle East was redrawn. The revolution didn't just change Iran, it changed the entire region. The conflict between Iran and Israel deepened, fueled by ideology and fear. Proxy wars and bitter rhetoric replaced the old friendship. The ancient bond was buried under a new reality of hate. The Middle East entered a dangerous new phase. The story of Iran and Israel was now one of confrontation. The shadow of conflict would only grow darker. The next chapter would be fought in secret, far from the public eye. The friendship of the past was now just a memory. The shadow war was about to begin. After the revolution, Iran and Israel's conflict moved underground. Instead of open battles, they fought a shadow war. Spies, sabotage, and secret missions. Israel's main fear, Iran's nuclear ambitions. Israel launched covert operations to slow Iran's nuclear program. The most famous was Stuxnet, a computer virus that crippled Iranian nuclear facilities in 2010. Iranian scientists were targeted in mysterious attacks, often blamed on Israel's Mossad. Neither side admitted responsibility, but the message was clear. The shadow war fueled mistrust and kept the region on edge. This hidden conflict shaped the next decade. The stakes were high, and the danger was real. The battle lines were drawn in the shadows. In recent years, the conflict has burst into the open. The Syrian civil war brought Iranian forces close to Israel's border. Israel responded with hundreds of airstrikes against Iranian targets in Syria. The fighting spread to the sea, with mysterious attacks on ships from both sides. In April 2024, Iran launched a direct missile and drone attack on Israel, an unprecedented escalation. Israel, with help from allies, intercepted most of the attack and responded with its own strike inside Iran. The shadow war had become an open confrontation. The world watched, fearing a wider war. The conflict was no longer hidden. It was now a direct clash. The stakes had never been higher. The ancient friendship was a distant memory. The future was uncertain. The world held its breath. Today, the Iran-Israel conflict is at a dangerous crossroads. Direct attacks have made the threat of full-scale war very real. Yet the Middle East is changing. Some Arab states, once Israel's enemies, are now its partners through the Abraham Accords. Iran's power has pushed old rivals into new alliances. The region is divided, one camp led by Iran, the other by Israel and its new Arab partners. The political map is being redrawn. Is war inevitable, or can peace return? History shows that enemies can become friends. Iran and Israel were once allies, then partners, now foes. Perhaps one day they might rediscover their ancient friendship. For now, the world waits, hoping wisdom will triumph over anger. The story is not over.